Okay, I'm stopped. Thank you.
Okay, much better. This is People of the State of Michigan versus Kadisha Saunders Davenport, docket number 21-357FH. This is the time that I am told the matter is set for a plea, and that would be to the charge. Is that correct, Mr. Dello?
That is correct, Your Honor. For the record, my name is Jay Dallow. On behalf and with Mrs. Saunders Davenport, we appear via Zoom, Your Honor. We have no objection to any of the defects as related to Zoom.
Okay. Ms. Saunders Davenport, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. It looked like you said I do, but I couldn't really hear you. Could you repeat that?
I do.
Yeah, I can't hear you, which I know you said I do, but I'm going to have to hear you throughout this plea. You can put your hand down. Can you, is it a volume issue on your device? Can't hear you at all.
Is that better?
Oh, 100%. Thank you very much.
Sorry about that.
Okay, no, that's no problem. Ms. Saunders Davenport, you have the right to be represented by an attorney, and you are represented by Mr. Dallow, who's informed me this is a plea to the charge, count 1. And Mr. Feeney, would you read the charge, please?
I will, Your Honor. And good morning. My name is Dennis Feeney, Attorney General's Office on behalf of the people. In regard to the information, Your Honor, in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Kadisha Saunders Davenport, file 21-357FH in the city of Lansing and county of Ingham. And just as an aside, Your Honor, that jurisdiction is statutory, as the court knows, pursuant to MCL 400.611. So that is city of Lansing, county of Ingham, on or about June 2019 through November of 2019. The charge in this matter, Your Honor, to which the defendant will be pleading, Medicaid fraud false claim, to wit, the defendant did knowingly make, present, or cause to be made or presented to a state employee or officer a false claim under the Social Welfare Act, that being MCL 400.1 et sec. That is contrary to MCL 400.607 parent 1. This is a felony punishable by up to 4 years and or $50,000. And in regard to count 1, Your Honor, specifically, the beneficiary listed by the initials AW is Anita Woods. The date of service is June of 2019. The procedure code is T1019, which are personal care services per 15-minute duration. And the status is paid by way of Aetna using Medicaid funds.
All right, thank you. Ms. Saunders Davenport, you're being charged here with what's known as making a false Medicaid claim. That is a felony punishable by up to 4 years in prison. If you were on parole at the time of the offense, it would be a mandatory consecutive sentence. Have you had enough time to talk about this charge with your attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you understand the charge against you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions about what it is we're doing today?
No, Your Honor.
And how do you want to plead?
Guilty to the charge, Your Honor.
If your plea of guilty is accepted by this court, it means you won't have a trial of any kind, and you'll give up the rights that go along with a trial. That means you'll give up the right to a trial by jury, or if you didn't want trial by jury, trial by judge. You'll give up the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty, and to require the prosecutor to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You'll give up your right to have the witnesses against you appear at the trial and to be able to cross-examine them, as well as the right to have this court order any witnesses that you might have to appear at the trial. You'll give up your right to remain silent at the trial and not to have your silence used against you, or in the alternative, your right to testify at trial. Also, there's 2 things that are different about appeals when you plead guilty that you need to know. The first is that when you plead guilty, you don't get an automatic right to appeal your case to the higher court. Instead, you'd have to ask them to look at it and they would have to agree. The other thing is that when you plead guilty, there are many, many issues that you simply cannot appeal to the higher court. Unlike people who go to trial, if they get convicted, they can appeal pretty much everything. Do you understand those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Also, if I accept your plea, it means you will not be able to come back later on and try to say that the plea was the result of some promise or threat that no one told me about today. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
It also means you will not be able to come back later on and try to say that it really wasn't your own choice to plead guilty today. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there a plea agreement, Mr. Feeney?
There is, Your Honor. Your Honor, pursuant to the defendant entering the plea to the charge of Medicaid fraud false claim, the people agreed to bring no further charges as a result of this investigation. The parties agree that the restitution in this matter owed by the defendant will be $17,859.28. That will be owed to the state of Michigan. In regard to the sentence, Your Honor, the people agreed to recommend a term of probation with no upfront jail.
And that's a recommendation, not an agreement, correct?
Your Honor, that is a recommendation, and the reason for that, and I don't mean to speak for Mr. Dallow, as I believe he plans to request something even better than that at sentencing. I think it's his intent and his client's intent that she will bring the entirety of the monies owed to the time of sentencing and will request something not involving probation.
Okay, I mean, the only reason I ask is because under the court rules, of course, there's a difference between a recommendation from the people and an agreement. And
Yes.
if it's a recommendation and I decide to impose jail, the Ms. Saunders Davenport has no right to withdraw her plea. I feel obliged to say that, even though the chance of me giving jail time on this type of charge is just so very, very unlikely. So it's a distinction that's important, but probably one without a difference here.
And Your Honor, I can clarify if the court would like. I would make a Killebrew agreement that Ms. Davenport, as part of the sentence, receive no upfront jail. So that will be an agreement. The probationary portion will be a recommendation, Your Honor.
Thank you for that clarification. And Mr. Dallow, is that a full and complete statement of the agreement?
I think Mr. Feeney explained that very accurately. I think the only thing I would add is with regards to the restitution, it is that 17,000 minus anything that he determines that has been paid toward it already, which will then be handled before sentencing via lump sum. If that sounds accurate, Mr. Feeney.
And it does, Your Honor. That's something I plan to discuss with the probation department when they're preparing the pre-sentence report. Ms. Davenport has made some payments toward that restitution, which she will certainly be credited with. And I will make sure to get a fair accounting by the day of sentencing and allow the court to understand what is actually owed on that date.
Thank you. I appreciate you being on top of that. Ms. Saunders Davenport, is that your understanding of the agreement as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, as I've already covered, this Killebrew agreement or sentence agreement, that you would have no upfront jail. If I decided not to go along with that in the highly unlikely event that I would decide that, I would tell you before I sentenced you, and you would have a chance to take back this whole plea and start over if you wanted to. You understand all that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has anyone promised you anything else that has not been said here right now in order to get you to plead guilty?
No, Your Honor.
Has anyone made any threats to get you to do this?
No, Your Honor.
Is it your own choice?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you pleading guilty because you believe you are in fact guilty of this offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, then we're talking about the time frame, June 2019 to November 2019. Tell me how it is that you made a false Medicaid claim.
I believe that services may have not been rendered, and I didn't keep accurate account of services that were rendered, and
Okay.
that's
Were you
it.
a provider or a supervisor of a provider?
Yes, both.
Okay, and so claims were submitted to Medicaid for a particular patient or patients?
Yes,
And that would be seeking coverage under Medicaid, correct?
yes,
And in fact, some of those services had not actually been rendered.
some of them may not have been rendered. Yes, Your Honor.
And you knew that that was the case.
Not all of them, but yes.
Okay. And has the court complied with MCR 6.302? Mr. Feeney?
I believe the court has, Your Honor.
Mr. Dallow?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you aware of any promises, threats, or inducements other than those already placed on the record? Mr. Feeney?
I'm aware of none, Your Honor.
Mr. Dallow?
Aware of none, Your Honor.
The court finds the plea is understandingly and voluntarily made without undue influence, threats, or promises of leniency. It is an accurate plea. It's supported by the testimony. The plea is accepted, and I have a sentencing date of Monday, August 16th at 4:15. And as long, I don't need consent to take a plea by Zoom. I do need consent to do a sentencing by Zoom. So if Ms. Saunders Davenport has no objection to that, I would be perfectly willing to do that as a Zoom sentencing.
Objection, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Then if that date works for everyone, Monday, August 16th at 4:15, I'll see you on Zoom at that time. Ms. Saunders Davenport, you're in Florida now, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so if you would do this, please, and your bond will be continued, but if you would please contact Ingham County Adult Probation. It's 483-6100. I'm sorry, area code 517. 517-483-6100. Tell them that you need to set up a pre-sentence interview. They will do that, and they do it remotely too, so that should not be a problem. But that's very important that you do that right away so they can take care of that interview and use it in the report that I'll need for sentencing. Do you have any questions about that?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, great. Then if there's nothing further for the record, thank you. That will conclude our hearing.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Take care.